Hello everybody and welcome to What the Heck Does That Card Do? The Talk Together show that we do where we talk about various different types of commanders and cards that you could put into your decks, whether they be the most common and most popular cards or the oddballs, the oddities, the ones that are locked away in the bottom of your dad's or parents' locker. I don't know where I'm going with that train of thought. I don't know.
Weird, but got weird.
Got weird places. Anyway, my name's Josh.
Chances are it's the one you saw on the internet where someone said this was a good idea and you went, what if this is a weird card? Because the reaction we want to get is, what the heck does that card do? That's the name of the show.
I'm Josh. That's Chris.
Hello.
We're going to talk about cards.
Yeah.
More specifically, we're going to talk about Universes Beyond. Now, I have to do this because I've purposely put this t-shirt on and realised that my mic's covering it. We're talking about Universes Beyond. Because...
Well, okay.
Not SpongeBob, but Universes Beyond.
We're talking about Spider-Man. We've got Spider-Man Commander to give you some recommendations on. And hey, since we're talking about it, Josh, how do you feel about Universes Beyond?
Oh, I thought we were just talking about Spider-Man, but Universes Beyond I think is awesome. Is my general feel on the whole thing.
It's a podcast, please fucking elaborate.
That was well thought out and well described. No, Universes Beyond, I think, is... for me personally, Universes Beyond is what got me into Commander properly. I came into it around Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
And I got my Sam and Frodo deck was my first proper Commander deck that I owned. So that got me into it. So I feel that Universes Beyond is getting a lot of people into the game. Lots of comments and things about the amount of sets that we've got coming, whether they be Universes Beyond or not. My personal opinion on that is more cards means more things to play with, which means things slip through the cracks because you don't look through every single card that comes out with every single set unless you are like a religious looker at the stuff online and all of that. But then you go back and you find them later on and you're like, oh wow, that card was actually really good and amazing. I've done that a couple of times with the Assassin's Creed set, if I'm honest. So found loads of cards since Assassin's Creed's been out that I'm like, ooh, this is a really good card. What set is it from? Assassin's Creed?
That set that no one bought, yeah.
Yeah, so I bought quite a lot of it because I like Assassin's Creed, yes. But I think Universes Beyond's great. So it's bringing new people into the game. My kids, or my son, plays it as well. He's used a lot of my decks that aren't Universe Beyond themed, and he enjoys playing the game. But as soon as Spider-Man was announced, and he's now got hold of some of the cards, he's actually been actively building his own decks. Not that I helped him before, but it was more of a case of here's a pre-con, upgrade it yourself. But because there are no pre-cons in this set, he's actively building a deck himself, and I've not had any input on it. He's come to me and gone, this is the deck I've got, can you have a look through it? And I'm like, do you need that in there? Do you need that in there? I've not suggested any card. Like, one of the commander that we're going to talk about today is Miles Morales, which I'm going off of the deck list that my son gave me, and the cards that he, some of the interesting cards that I think he's put in there. When he showed me this deck list, he had Anzrag, the Wake Mole. He had him in there. I was like, why is he in there? He's like, multiple combats. I'm like, but why is he in there? Sort of thing. So I don't think he's on the list now. Let me just double check quickly.
I mean, I would never not putting Anzrag in a deck. I used to have an Anzrag deck.
I have Anzrag in my Helena and Elena deck, but I just
he's now in my Wolfguard deck.
Yeah. No, he's taking them out. I won't. This deck won't be linked below, but I will.
No, it's your kids.
Yeah, it's my son's deck, so I'll let him keep that. And it's still not finished. There's still cards that he wants to get for it.
You shouldn't finish a deck too quickly. You need to have time to think about random. You have to have random thoughts when you head about random things you once saw that might be really good in there. That's kind of the point.
Exactly. What are your thoughts on Universes Beyond, Chris?
I'm going to start at the same point that you did, which is talking about my children, because I think it's a really good place to start talking about Universes Beyond. Because one of my kids is 2 and the other one is 11, and my 11-year-old, I've been playing Magic with him for 4 or 5 years. And even at an age where he was younger, like he's still younger than the recommended age for Magic, I know that, but even at the younger age, he was excited by the concept of a game like Magic. He saw that I was playing it and wanted to engage with it. We often share hobbies, so that makes sense. And he specifically got excited about, first and foremost, this is a cool game, and then I showed him there was a Transformers card. The first thing that got him super excited was the fact that Optimus Prime existed as a card. And is the card particularly good? No. Is it like the world's most amazing Universes Beyond example? Not really. It was an expansion set, like Jurassic Park cards and that sort of thing. But that is how a lot of new fans, and especially a lot of people who are younger than us, I'm going to say, have gotten into Magic. I know, look, I'm nearly 40. Like, this is just a thing, man. Like, people that are younger than us don't have 30, 20, depending on how long you've been playing, years of these characters matter, these stories matter, I'm so invested in this universe. They just have, what's this cool game? How can I join in? And, I'm going to say it, my experience of Magic before I became properly invested in it, before I got sent a box, frankly, it was part of a D&D thing, I got sent the Forgotten Realms box and started playing a lot of Magic. Before that point, my association with Magic was some of the people I knew who played it who were, frankly, dicks about it. I've got this cool deck. Can I play? Yeah, you can use this deck. It's not as good as my deck. Okay. So how do I play better? Make your own deck. How do I know what's good? Get good was basically the response you got at that point. And I know that's not everyone's experience, but it's remarkable how often it is. It's remarkable when content creators talk about how they got into Magic, how many people are like, oh, and then I got ostracized for my gender. Oh, and then no one talked to me about it because people didn't like it. Or I had to work it all out for myself because no one would help me. That's not good. That is a bad point of entry for any game. And the fact that the point of entry now is, that's a cool card. I love Spider-Man. I love Venom. I love Morbius, some people do, then like that will be the point at which you go, this is what I want. Does it matter if it's good? No. Does it matter if it's synergistic? Not really. The expansion of casual play into Magic, which Commander is a huge part of because it's way more casual than Standard or Pauper or any of the other formats that cost you, 400 quid to walk in the door. It's so much easier to pick up a pack and have a go. And Universes Beyond encourages pick up a pack. That thought process of I'd like to get involved, but I don't know what's going on. That's fine. And the fact that that's come out of interactions with Marvel, Warhammer, all of these huge media properties, and therefore pulling more people into the hobby, makes a lot of sense. And also, people get really shitty about Universes Beyond online. They do. People like to whine that it's ruining the game, or that it leaves them cold, I feel nothing, all of these like really brutal takedowns of it's the wrong thing on the card. But those people play anyway. If they're content creators, they're fucking invested. And they're not just invested in terms of number of cards. They've probably got an audience they have to keep happy. Like, there is an investment there that they have to honour and work with. But for most people, they don't know or care about any of it. And if your son seeing there's a card of Miles, a character that he likes because of TV, movies, comics, whatever his engagement point is, and that leads him into going, who the fuck is Urza? Like, that's good. That's what you want. That's how you draw more people into the hobby. That's how you get people who don't normally engage in the hobby excited about the hobby. And if Magic had a gatekeeping problem earlier, of like it was hard to get involved, I do think Universes Beyond and the fact that people get really cross about it is like the last gasp of that gatekeeping. Yeah. It's no, it's wrong, you don't understand, they're killing my baby. And you go, but it's now our baby. And I've got this very cool Sonic the Hedgehog card that I'd quite like to play, please. And it's pretty damn good. The fact that they've power crept Magic as well over time, because they have to, because it's a universal. I don't think they intended to. I think Commander being universal has kind of screwed their plans for let's not power creep too lot, frankly, but that's a longer conversation. UB in particular, Universes Beyond in particular, means that when your son, my kid, says, I've got this super awesome card, I look at it and go, I'm going to have to build something pretty crazy to keep up with that. And that's good. I think I'm like, my son has a Link deck. It's all proxied because there is no currently interaction between Link and Magic, although I fully assume Legend of Zelda and Magic is coming at some point in the near future because Universes Beyond has clearly been a success.
Yes.
It's when he said, I really want a Link deck, I found him a proxy deck and said, I'll proxy you, I'll print you this proxy deck. Why not? Because you really want this. I looked through the deck list and went, this has some crazy fucking cards in it. It's got a fucking scroll rack in it. It's got like cards worth 50, 100 quid. It's got game changers in it. And I said to him, I'm going to give you this deck. I'm going to print it off for you and give it to you as is. It's got some really tough cards to play in there. You're going to have to learn. You have to get good, son. But in a way that was like, you want this. You want to learn how the good cards work. Here are all the good cards. I can't buy you a scroll rack. I can proxy you one that's called the Ocarina of Time. It's not cleverer than that. But like, and it's got all the shock lands. It's got all the bounce lands. It's got all of the, like, he's reaching a point with it going like, why do I want to pay 2 life for this land? I don't think it's actually that good. And I'm going, yes. You worked that out without buying a 30 quid shock land. Congratulations. Like, these are good things. These are good interaction points. And I don't see why people have such a problem with it over it's a person in spandex on a card that's supposed to be fantasy themed.
Well, that's the whole thing with it, though, isn't it? Is even taking Universes Beyond out of it, Magic the Gathering is a universe-hopping game anyway. The story is universe hopping. You've got Amonkhet, you've got Ravnica, you've got all of these other places that you travel to in different sets. So it makes sense that other IPs started leaking through. The one thing that I like to compare it to, I am also a tabletop gamer. I like to play with models and things like that. And the thing that makes me excited about playing with Universes Beyond stuff is I play my favorite tabletop game I like playing is a game called Marvel Crisis Protocol. You can't really see that because of my ring light, but it is a Marvel themed game.
I don't know it, but yeah. Cool.
But yeah, it's a Marvel themed game, and you basically buy the models. So this set's got Thor, Loki, Lady Thor, and Lady Sith in it.
Cool.
I like building them, painting them, putting them on the table, and then playing with them. And because trading cards is my jam, I've played trading cards like my entire life since I was little. Not necessarily Magic, but other trading card games.
Just say Yu-Gi-Oh! Let us all laugh at you.
It wasn't just Yu-Gi-Oh! I did play other games, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Was the main one.
How's it going right now?
I won't get into it, but there's a new format that they're bringing out, which has got me interested. Anyway, the fact that I can see my favourite Final Fantasy characters on a card, my favourite Spider-Man characters, any potentially, because this is going to come out before the 10th of October now, potentially a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles stuff. I mean, that's the rumour going around at the minute. So it's Nickelodeon. I
tell you what, if it's just a secret layer, I'll be disappointed. There's so much there. That could be a full set.
It could also be SpongeBob, because we've had the SpongeBob secret layer. It could be a full SpongeBob set. But if they were going to do something different,
but then
Ninja Turtles makes sense because it's one of the biggest. And plus, Ninja Turtles are everywhere in every IP. Every Fortnite. They're in Fortnite. They're in that Raid Shadow Legends game. They've been in Injustice. They've been in so many different things, medias. I
was about to say, because people go on about, Magic is its own IP and therefore you shouldn't corrupt it or break it. Putting guest characters into something I'm particularly familiar with, fighting games, has been a common thing for a very, very long time. Soul Calibur, there's Tekken they put characters in. Mortal Kombat's the one where they keep putting people in. Injustice, they keep putting people in. Don't get me started on the special characters, or some of the special characters that they've put into Tekken that should have been in Soul Calibur. Noctis and Clive. Yeah. That's because they stopped making Soul Calibur because it was a dud. But I know.
Don't say that to me.
I'm sorry. Soul Calibur 6 was a dud, and you have to admit it to yourself.
Mortal Kombat's the biggest one for the bigger fighting games having third-party IP characters in them.
And I mean, if you want to take it then to its sort of logical extreme, because if you start off with like Marvel v Capcom and other things like that, there are plenty of games with this idea of IP crossing, and part of the engagement factor with games that add in other IPs to them is that they open it out. If you're a person who likes the game, you may be introduced to a new IP. If you're a person who likes the IP, you might start playing the game. And the same things happened with Magic. It's kind of the point. Like, that's the whole setup here, is that if you like this IP, how about you try doing it in Magic as well? And outside of they have the stats. It works.
Yeah.
New player acquisitions at an all-time high. There are more female and non-male gender-identifying players, playing Magic. This is just a thing that's already started happening in a way that they never could do, because it was a horrible boys' club for a very long time. So and
some people still want it to be that. That's a very controversial thing. I know it's a controversial thing to say, but part of the gatekeeping that is happening within the community is people who want to keep it as oh no, you're not the same as me, you're not allowed to be in here sort of thing.
Okay, here's the thing. Everything about the way that Cassius Marsh plays Magic is not me. It's very aggro, you've got to win, and it's all about playing really valuable, expensive cards that are worth a fortune. That ain't me. But he made a point in his podcast saying he doesn't really understand people don't like the idea of Ulysses Beyond because is it the last vestiges of old school gatekeeping? Because he's been playing for donkey's years, but every UB is set as a chance for him to go, this is cool. What a cool thing. Isn't it cool that we have these things on a card? And I think that's where you can debate this left, right, center, but isn't it cool? On a certain level, isn't it just cool that we have a Spider-Man card we can talk about in the game that we love playing without learning how to play Marvel Rivals, which I don't want to do? Isn't that a cool thing?
Picking up a model and learning how to play a tabletop game and painting the models if you don't want to do that?
I have no beef with it. Okay, one last example, then we'll start actually talking about cards, and maybe we'll cut this for time later. I got my son into Super Smash Bros. When he was very young, because I was very into it, because I used to play competitively at one point, a long time ago. And it was perfect, because he would play a character, same thing what he enjoyed playing, Kirby. He would play Kirby, and go, Kirby's a cool character. And he was, 5? And I'd go, yeah. Kirby has his own series of games, right? Cut 2. He's played every Kirby game. Link's a really cool character. Yep. Link has a series. Whenever he needed to find more games to play, more characters to get excited about, Smash Brothers meant that he had insight into all of these things that he had no insight to on an incredibly surface level. Yeah. And that's enough. It meant that when he started looking at Pokemon, it wasn't what are these random things, it was a Pikachu from Smash Brothers. And all of his friends I've never met before. It worked. It does work. So if you're watching this and going, but my special Magic thing, okay, maybe not one for you. And I disagree with you, but you're welcome to have your opinion. I think the positives so far outweigh the negatives.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So far. Right, Miles. Josh, what does Miles Morales do as a Magic card?
Miles Morales. Well, actually, he's 2 cards. He's Miles Morales and he's Ultimate Spider-Man. So I'll talk about Miles Morales first. He's a double face card. That is why I'm saying that. So Miles Morales, he is a green and 1 human citizen hero and a 1/2. When Miles Morales enters, put a 1/1 counter on a +1/+1, I should say, +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. And then for white, green, red, and 3, you can transform Miles Morales, activate only as a sorcery. And then when you transform him, he becomes Ultimate Spider-Man, who is a white, green, red, and 3 spider-human hero for 3, who has First Strike and Haste. His first ability is Camouflage. For 2 mana, no tapping, just 2 mana, 2 generic mana. Put a +1/+1 counter on Ultimate Spider-Man. He gains Hexproof and becomes colorless until end of turn. And then he's got another ability which states, whenever you attack, double the number of each kind of counter on each spider and legendary creature you control. There is a lot to unpack with this card. The first thing, before Chris gets into their point, the first thing is that Miles can be cast for either value and be on either side. You can cast him for his green and 1 to bring out Miles Morales, or you can cast him for his 6 mana cost, basically, and play him as Ultimate Spider-Man. What was your point? Sorry, Chris.
was going to start off by saying dual-face cards. Dual-face cards are complicated in Magic because of many, many rules about how you transform them and don't transform them. Generally speaking, what it says on the card is what you do. If other cards talk about transforming dual-faced cards, then it's always worth Googling if this particular card works in the way that you want it to. I think this is a broad assumption, but I'm going to make a big, bold, broad statement here. I think they're moving away from the more complicated ways of doing these into just you can cast either side, it's fine, whatever. Because that generally, or you cast one side and transforming it is a simple cost. Because all of the old Exile it to Transform It versions, which exist from Kamigawa, versions you can only cast on one side and only transform under like extreme conditions that are very hard to achieve. It feels like they're moving away from that sort of like, this is a challenge, more into like, this is a fun way so you can play Miles early in the game and Ultimate Spider-Man later in the game.
Well, there is, I'm not exactly sure what the exact rule text is, but there is a rule text change that came with this set that does state that there are outside cards like Moon Mist, I believe, which allows you to transform cards, can now be used on all types of double-faced cards rather than it just being on one particular type.
Yes, the rules are slightly in flux because of that, and there are certain old cards that now work in interesting ways that may not be clear. Google it. Reddit and Google are great places to just go, does this work in the way that I want it to? Because people will very quickly tell you yes or no. And frankly, if people say both ways, choose the way you want it to. And if someone complains, go, this person said this. Because the judge program doesn't exist anymore. Anyway, the point is, the way it's designed is you cast Miles early. You cost 1 and a green, and you put 1/1 counters on target creatures. So you want to have other creatures on the board. You cast Miles, put 1/1 counters on things. You get what is clearly a commander who cares about 1/1 counters rolling.
Yes.
And then at a certain point, you flip him. Most notably, when you flip him, he doesn't regain summoning sickness. It's the same object on the board. So his first strike and haste isn't relevant if you flip him. Point is, if you cast him for his cost, he has haste. You can do it immediately on your turn, which is relevant. First Dragon Haste 4/3 is just a good attacker, frankly. Whenever he attacks, double the number of each kind of counter on each spider and legendary creature you control is the important line of text here.
Yes, because it doesn't state +1/+1 counter. It states all counters, which is what we're going to get into today.
Yeah, like, obviously what the design is meant to do is you put a 1/1 counter on other creatures when you play Mars on the front. You flip him, and then when you do, the other creatures, so long as they're spiders and or legendaries, will get more counters. And not just another counter. Proliferate is a famous just another counter ability. This is not that. This is double. And cards that say double, cards that say triple, they tend to be pretty awesome because that takes you from 2 to 4, 4 to 8. The curve is exponential. Yes. And exponential curves, when you can trigger them multiple times, especially multiple times each turn, which Miles can't do, but we'll get to it in a second, the ability to multi-trigger repeatedly, get more and more out of it, is fantastic. And it's just a really good ability. And frankly, you could build this with cards that say, put a 1/1 counter on target creature, and you would be fine. You'd have a great deck. It would go well for you. Because green, red, and white, Naya, are also lovely colours for counters. Lots and lots of counterplay there. Lots and lots of counter doublers in there, so you might even be quadrupling counters as you play them. Depends if they're replacement effects or not. Complicated. Might come up with Josh's stuff later, but yes. Point is, this is a very easy card to build. If you want to make a super easy, I make big things and go smash with them, do. That is absolutely fine. And frankly, because he focuses on spiders and legendary creatures, guess what this set is full of? Spiders and legendary creatures in these colours. Yeah. You're going to have a field day. It
also means as well that you could technically double him up as a counters deck, not a counters deck, sorry, tokens deck, and just focus on making spider tokens.
Yeah. There are many cards that make spider. Like Arasta of the Endless Web makes spider tokens. Yeah. And she's legendary, so she could get counters. Those spiders could get counters. Yeah, totally.
Lots of cards. Anyway, that's Miles. We are, so as Chris said, there are lots of 1/1 synergy cards out there that you could choose to put into your Miles deck. We're not going to go over like all of the really good ones
because they're on the EDH rec page.
They're on EDH rec. Like there's one that Doubling Season, Branching Evolution, Hardened Scales, the Earth Crystal, all
Yeah.
sorts of things like that are really good. One that one other card that is going to get an honourable mention at this point, but it's not one that I'm actively going to talk about, is Shalail and Halar. Shalail, I can't say that properly.
Shalai and Halar.
Yeah, the card will appear now, but their effect is whenever one or more 1/1 counters are put onto a creature you control, they deal that much damage to a target opponent. So if you pair them up with Miles doubles counters on all creatures, you're going to be doing a large amount of damage. That is a game ender for the deck, but that's not one of the ones I'm going to go into too much detail with talking about today. My first card, Miles, allows you to put 1/1 counters onto 2 target creatures when he comes in. Target, it says 2 target, not other targets. So you could put one of those counters onto him if you wanted to. So you need, looking at it, you might want some other cards that can put counters onto creatures, either as they come in or through activated abilities or all that sort of stuff. So my first card is quite expensive, one money-wise, but it's a really good card and pairs up really nicely with Miles's effect. And it is Arwen, Weaver of Hope.
Yes.
From Lord of the Rings. She is 2 green and 1 for an elf noble 2/1. Each other creature you control enters the battlefield with a number of an additional 1/1 counters on it equal to Arwen, Weaver of Hope's toughness, which as standard is 1. But if you have her on the field already...
toughness. It's toughness.
Yeah. Yes, toughness, yeah.
Why is it toughness?
They want her to have that big booty. But
well, no, clearly she has a tiny booty. That's what 2/1 means.
Yeah, it's just true. But so if you've got her on the field first and then you put Miles down, she gives Miles a 1/1 counter, and then he can then put his 2 1/1 counters, one on her, one on another creature, or one on himself. And then every other creature that comes in after that will get 2 1/1 counters on it. When Miles transforms into Ultimate Spider-Man and starts attacking, her counters double. So things are going to start coming in with even more counters on them when they come in, and it will get out of control very quickly.
1/1 counters does get out of control very quickly. It's just it is a strategy that traditionally it's the kind of strategy where if you say it's a 1/1 counters deck, it's in Naya, most people are going to go, cool, so you're going to put shit tons on, right? That's basically what ends up happening very quickly. Like your Helana and Elena deck's a 1/1 counters deck, right?
Well, it doesn't have... It's got Branch and Evolution in there, and Helana and Elena deals with 1/1 counters themselves, and is also a card that is highly recommended to go into this deck. But I don't have a lot of the other 1/1 counter synergy sort of cards you would expect in there. It's more Helana and Elena focus more... it's more focused on them rather than making it a proper 1/1 counter deck.
Well, actually, I think we might be out of sync with recordings, but we talk about my Bello deck at some point, and I use Bello as a modular 1/1 counters deck as well as being artifacts and equipment. And yeah, the moment you start putting 1/1 counters on things, every card that says put another one, move them, move some more, put another one, you suddenly go, I've got 10 on here now. It just happens. It happens so quickly, and you don't think about it, and suddenly your entire board is 10 10s. And this deck can do that in 3 turns, especially with Arwen. Like it's.
I was just going to say, Chris and I had a game the other day, and I was trying out Ardbert, who will appear now, as a character, and we were both like, oh yeah, so he'll put the odd 1/1 counter on things when you cast spells and all of that, of white and black spells and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And he was putting like 2 to 4 every turn, and my creatures got they didn't have trample or anything, but they were getting very big very quickly, and it was very scary. I was like, this has popped off a lot quicker than I thought it was going to.
It's just a really good strategy, and there's so many cards that integrate with it, and most of them are in these colours. So yeah, it's a fantastic start. Josh has already alluded to this, but I'm going to go into detail. I have purposefully steered away from 1/1 counter cards. This is not because it's a bad strategy. It's a good strategy, and frankly, you could build a whole deck around it, and you'd be fine. It'd be good. But Miles says a specific thing that makes me very happy. Double the number of each kind of counter. The game is full of counters, and some of them, if you double them, you do some crazy things. I don't think it's ever going to reach the sheer bombast of I put 6 bajillion +1/+1 counters on this thing with first strike. Like, I'll win your games. But like, if you want to do something a little bit different, am I going to start with? I'm going to start with the Myojin. So the Myojin are legendary creatures from original Kamigawa and from, I think, Neon Dynasty was the second time they did Myojin. Myojin are spirits in Japanese culture, and they are all donkeys. They all cost like 7, 8, 9 mana. They're legendary creatures, so their counters will double off miles. That all works. They're very expensive to cast, but I'm going to read you out the one specifically I'm going to talk about today, which is Myojin of Towering Might. 5 green, so 8 mana for a legendary spirit. It enters with an indestructible counter on it if you cast it from your hand. Remove an indestructible counter from Myojin of Towering Might. Distribute 8 +1/+1 counters among any number of target creatures you control. They gain trample until end of turn.
Wow.
Now, I know it's 8 mana. I get it, right? But let us go through the play pattern of what happens when you play this card. Number one, you're in Naya, you're in good ramp colors. Your chance of getting to 8 mana is quite high. Also, your commander costs 6, so you're probably going to be playing at those kind of like those mana levels anyway. You could spend 8, cast the Myojin, enters with a counter because you're not doing anything clever to trigger it out, which this is why that's there. You attack. You go to attack with Miles and the rest of your board, because he triggers on attack. Whenever you attack, double the number of each kind of counter on each spider legendary creature you control. Fine. You double your board, at which point you also double the Myojin's indestructible counter. At which point, instant speed, because it's an instant speed effect, you remove the indestructible counter and put 8 more 1/1 counters on your creatures who now also have trample. And you can do that every turn.
Wow.
So this is effectively what you've done is you've made your own overrun. You've made your own what they're called. I mean, all the cards they're called overruns, but they all do the same thing. It's give creatures pluses and give them trample. Your deck doesn't naturally have trample. If it's big, trample is good. And this is particularly big. You can't attack with it on the turn it comes in, which is a shame, but you will probably win the game. And if you don't, next turn you can just do it again.
Yeah.
All the counters that you put on, all 8 +1/+1 counters will double depending on where they are. So yes, that's my first recommendation. It ties in with 1/1 counter, so that was quite a nice sort of segue in. And it's 22p.
Wow. Yeah.
Whereas Arwen's what, £6?
Yeah, Arwen's quite expensive, but yeah. So my next card, moving away from +1/+1 counters, one of the things that this deck does quite well, as Chris has mentioned before, is it's in green, so it ramps really well, which means you get access to quite a lot of mana dorks, and there are quite a lot of mana dorks out there that when they generate a number of, when they tap to generate mana, they'll get a number of mana equal to the number of +1/+1 counters or their power or something like that. There's loads of them around.
There's lots.
There's lots of them.
My Kilo deck list has all of them.
Yeah. But one that struck me as really interesting when looking at my son's deck list was a mana dork that also deals with spiders, spider tokens to be exact, which helps with Miles. And this is Twitching Doll. It is a green and 1 2/2 spider toy. And
it's
it taps.
So grim. It's so grim. Thank you, Duskmorn.
Exactly. It taps to add 1 mana of any colour, and you put a nest counter on this creature. And then it has another tap effect, which is tap, sacrifice this creature, create a 2/2 green spider creature token with reach for each counter on this creature. Activate only as a sorcery. Now it says for each counter on this creature. That's not just the nest counters. If you put 1/1 counters on this thing as well, or any other counter on this thing, it will make a spider for each one.
And Miles says specifically that he doubles all counters. So if there's 1 nest counter and 2 1/1 counters on it, it'll end up with 2 nest counters and 4 1/1 counters on it. So it doesn't matter whether they're +1s or nesting counters, they will all doubly build up. That's so cool.
Now this is an artifact creature, but it is a spider toy, so it does fall under Miles's thing because it's not legendary.
Yes,
so it still gets the double in. So that is, when I saw that, I looked at my son, and it was like, you know, looking at your children when they've passed their exams or something.
Pride,
it's like
yes.
The pride that I felt when I saw this card. I was like, this is a card I'd never heard of. This card is amazing, and when I do this episode, I will 100% be talking about this card. It is really good.
where else would you put this?
In a spider deck, like before
Well,
Spider-Man
no.
came out, you could potentially
because
put it in.
I had a spider deck yonks ago, and
It'd be
they
a
don't
lot
really care
slower
about
in there,
spiders. Yeah, they don't really care about spiders. It's not really a thing. Like
unless it was
spider,
Shelob.
but even Shelob doesn't really care about spiders. It gives spiders death touch and haste, but it gives spiders some. But yeah, it's not the same. But yes, that's a very cool card.
Amazing card in this deck.
Right, let's talk about different kinds of counters. So, before we get too complicated, let's talk about oil counters. Oil counters were a thing from Phyrexia or B1, I think. I don't think they were anywhere else. They may have been in the second Phyrexia set, March of the Machines as well. I don't know. They certainly weren't in the first Phyrexia set, which was New Phyrexia. But they were designed as a way to give Phyrexian creatures extra abilities. And there's lots of cards that interact with oil counters. If it has more than this, put more on, etc. So Migloz Maze Crusher is a Phyrexian beast. I think he's a Minotaur. It's hard to tell. Phyrexian things get very screwed up. But yes, he's a Phyrexian beast. He enters with 5 oil counters and remove for 1 mana and remove an oil counter. It gains Vigilance and Menace till end of turn. For 2 mana and 2 oil counters, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. And for 3 mana and 3 oil counters, destroy target artifact or enchantment. None of these tap, Migloz.
Yeah.
So, obviously, enters with 5. You can split those 5 however you want, but then after a while, he runs out of counters and sucks. Except...
Just becomes a 4/4 blocker.
Yeah, except not if you're playing with Miles. Because if you start... What I would do, then it's up to you, like how you play this, but I would play him, go to attacks, because all of these activate instant speed. Yeah. And when you attack with Miles, suddenly Migloz has 10 counters. Mm-hmm. It still costs mana to activate his abilities, so its abilities. So you're not going to it's not going to be, and now I destroy all the artifacts. No, it's not that good. But what it does mean is you can give it Vigilance and Menace every turn. You can give it +2/+2 every turn, so it's a 6/6. And if opponents have pesky artifacts or enchantments you want to get rid of, you have an ability to keep getting more and more and more of these oil counters. This creature only costs 3 mana.
Yeah.
So for 3 mana, it's on the board. Once Miles is activated, you can start cycling through the oil counters. And if you need to get rid of something, you can just pop it down, get rid of 3 of the 5 oil counters, and you can still have 4 on the turn after, and then 6, and so on. It will build up.
I think the only thing that I'll say to that is, you would, if you were to use the mana to make something Vigilant and Menace, and you wanted to do that, you wouldn't be able to do that after the attacks have been made. They'd remain tap. You would have to do it. You would have to do it on attack. Although it's instant speed, it says when Miles attacks. So if you declare you have to declare them, and then it would declare them first, right? then effects would trigger. Yeah.
Well, then in which case you spend the 1 and get rid of the oil counter, and then he's got 8.
Oh yeah. I mean, you'd only really use all of his effects, like get rid of all 5 oil counters, like if you really needed to. So he's going to at least have 1 or 2 on after he's come down, and it's going to be one that you can slowly build up over time with.
6/6 Vigilance Menace is what effectively it is if you spend 3 counters and 3 mana.
Yeah.
Is nothing to sniff at. Like, it's a great thing on its own. And eventually, because you're putting 1/1 counters on these things too, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Because Vigilance and Menace, when it's bigger and bigger, makes it harder to block, and it's still a good blocker for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I reckon that would be the kind of slow burn, like, it's just there on the board that just slowly people start going, that's the real problem. You just blew up my Soul Ring.
you can make it a 6/6 blocker as well.
Yes, by taking the oil counters off. Yeah.
Instant speed, 2 mana and 2 oil counters, it becomes a 6/6 blocker. So
yeah,
which is good.
Yeah. It's a card that on its own you'd run out of oil counters so fast. You'd need to have oil counter synergies in the deck to make it work. With Miles, you don't have to worry about that. That's just given.
Yeah, 100%. My next card is one that in 2025, which is the year that we are still in, we have seen 2 reprints of this card, both in precons. One, the Final Fantasy X precon, and the other one was the Kilo deck from Edge of Eternities. And it is a card that cares about counters being put onto it and then distributing those counters elsewhere. This is Resourceful Defense.
Yes.
It is a white and 2 enchantment, and it says whenever a permanent you control leaves the battlefield, if it had counters on it, put those counters on target permanent you control. And then for white and 4, move any number of counters from target permanent you control to another target permanent you control. So, yeah, that's very good. Very good card.
It is, okay. I would say, because I had like 2 copies from New Capenna Commander, because I had the Countess Precon from New Capenna. And it started off like, it's a 30p card. And then it went up to like 10 quid card.
Yeah.
And then it's started to go down in price now because it's had 2 reprints in, 3 months, like really quick succession.
Like it's under £1 or something now.
That's good. Because it's this ability to not lose counters when they go. There are not many cards that do it, and the ones that do tend to be really pricey, like the Ozolith, stuff like that. And frankly, I mean, this is a long conversation about money and magic, but I genuinely don't think any card is worth more than a £5. And if it wants more than a £5 for it, it's not worth it.
I have different opinions on that, but that's because I'm a tabletop gamer.
So I have some secret layers, like I can hardly stay them. But yes, I genuinely think that this card and the ability to keep hold of counters when they go is so good.
Yes.
Because it's an enchantment. People don't pack enchantment removal very often. And if they do, will they focus on this or on the enchantment that's doubling all your counters twice?
Exactly.
And then suddenly realizing that this 2020, it dies. Well, that's okay, because 18 counters go onto this thing over here. And you go, actually, that's even worse, because you can't stop the rot. Everything just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and it just doesn't go away. And as long as Miles sticks around, they're all getting doubled again and again. Never spend 4 and a white. You don't need to. No. If you have a really big thing with lots of counters on it, just keep hitting people with it, and eventually it will die. And when it does, you don't need to worry about it.
I'll move them there, and then I'll put them somewhere else when they're needed.
I mean, the cool thing about it as well is that it's, again, it doesn't say one more counters, it says counters.
Yes.
All counters. In Kilo, it moves charge counters, for example, which is really, really useful. In this, with the other things we've been talking about, like, I'm not recommending a ton of things that use the same kind of counter, but there's no reason that you couldn't, for example, take the nest dolls off your nesting doll and then put them back on when it comes back onto the battlefield or whatever. Like, you can do clever things when it just says counters and not 1/1 counters. You have the freedom to bounce things in interesting ways. I would also say, and you need to Google it because it's complicated. A lot of these cards that move counters around don't move them around. They remove them and then add them to another thing.
Yes.
If they move them, whenever a permanent you control leaves, if it had counters on it, put those counters. I think this is one of the ones where it applies. You can't put those counters. That doesn't happen in Magic. The counters go away and then they are recreated over there. So doubling effects and so on would trigger. It depends on the card and depends on the wording of the card, but it's worth Googling every single one of these to make sure that you understand exactly how it works, because you have things on the board that care about doubling. Yeah. If you are removing them pacing, it's very important to know if they're doubled in that process, because they might be.
Yeah, there's a few cards that do that, where they double, like...
Module is the famous one.
And proliferate is another one. If you proliferate, you're putting more counters on it. So if you've got doubling effects on, it will double the effect of you putting more counters on, sort of thing. So exactly. But Resourceful Defense also does state put those counters. So when it says put, it normally. But
I really don't think you can. I think from a rules perspective, you can't take counters off one thing and put them over there because it dies. So the counters go away. Then they have to be re-added. I think it's so complicated. It's always worth Googling, especially when it comes to adding counters, because the rules around it are not obvious. A bit like layers in trying to work out when a layer effect kicks in on something. It's not obvious.
Yeah. Always
worth Googling, frankly.
What's your next card?
My next card, right. I'm going to keep going with dumb counters, and then I'm going to go into some of the more like...
When you say dumb counters, I know exactly what card to click on. Because I love this card.
Right, so time counters, they tend to exist on things that you control in exile because they're suspended. Mm-hmm. There was a whole Doctor Who set about it, which this card is from. Miles doesn't work on that. because those permanents don't exist on your side of the board. They're exiled. In the same way that any creature that puts counters on you, Miles can't affect because you're not a legendary creature or spider, no matter how much you want to be. So you be very cautious around things like experience counters, poison counters. Miles's effect doesn't work on those. So I found a Doctor Who card where the time counters go on the creature on the battlefield, therefore it works.
Even though I am technically a legendary creature.
You sure? So Wilfred Mott, 3 and a white for a human soldier with the late great Bernard Cribbins printed on a Magic card, which is fucking excellent.
Yes.
Sorry, if you're not English, you won't understand why that's excellent, but it is. Bernard Cribbins had an amazing comedy TV career, and now he's immortalised forever on a Magic card, pointing weirdly at the sky. Anyway, Wilfred Mott's ability is called Look to the Stars. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a time counter on Wilfred Mott, then look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of time counters on Wilfred Mott. You may put a non-land permanent card with mana value 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield, but the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. It's just card advantage. It's perfectly stable. If it was just one a turn and you were looking at one card, can't play it, put it back again, that would be shit. Like, obviously that's not a good card, and for 4 mana you can do better. However, let us consider that you play him, and then on your next upkeep you do look at the top card. If it happens to be the right mana value, you put it in you put it onto the battlefield. It's a free cast. Great. Chances are you won't. Chances are you look at one card and go, it's going on the bottom. That's fine. Then there's a time counter on him, at which point you attack with Miles. Now there's 2 time counters on him. The next turn there's 3 time counters on him. The chance of drawing something you can play for free, because mana value 3 or less, permanent, non-permanent mana value 3 or less. If you stack your deck with mana rocks, which you probably should do, any number of soul rings, equipment, a bunch of other stuff you can put in there. If you stack the deck, chances are by the time you're on the second turn that this happens, you are going to be playing something for free. And then the value just goes up. So once you're looking at 5, because from 3, it goes to 6. And then the top of the turn, it's 7. So the next turn after that, you're looking at the top 7 cards of your library. You will find something you can play, as long as you put cards in your deck that are permanents of mana value 3 or less, and you should. Your curve should start low.
And then next turn it's 15.
Yeah.
It just gets ridiculous.
It's slow burn. I will agree it is slow burn. And if it was in a deck that didn't do something clever, 1, 2, 3 would be absolutely rubbish. But the ability here to make it by turn 3 be looking at 15 cards deep into your library, that also means, and this is some high-level shit, if you look at the top 15 cards of your library, you know that the top 15 cards of your library, you know what they are. You know what's in your hand, you know what's in your graveyard, you know what's on the board. You're starting to reach the point which I particularly love in a game when I'm drawing ridiculous numbers of cards or milling ridiculous numbers of cards. I know my deck. If I know all the cards that have gone, and I know all the cards on the table, and I know all the cards I've got in my hand and in the graveyard, I can start working out what's left.
It's true.
You can start going, well, next turn, chances are I'm going to cycle through to my Sol Ring, because I've not played it yet. It's not in my graveyard, it's not in my hand, it's not on the board. I'll find it. I know there's a Shadow Spear in here. You know, stuff like that. If you have some really solid 3-2-1 non-land permanent pieces in your deck, you'll start knowing that they're going to turn up relatively soon, because, hang on, 50, it's 14, no, 7, 6, 7th card, double to 14, 15, doubles to 30. Yeah, by the turn after that, you're at a point where you're going to go through most of your remaining deck. Yeah. By the time he's played and by the time that's happening, you will, on your upkeep, you just look through most of your deck and go, cool, I'll play this card for free, thank you. And that's a pretty awesome ability. It's a slow burn. I don't think it'll ever work in that way. There's always things going to go wrong, but if you do pull it off, it'd be so cool.
Well, that's the thing, though, is do you, and it's threat assessment again, isn't it? Do you take out, I have a Swords to Plowshare or a Path of Exile in my hand. Do I take out Wilfred Mott, who's allowing my opponent to play 1 free card a turn? Or do I take out the thing that's doubling the counters? Or do I take out the commander? Or do I take out this other thing that's doubling stuff? Or do I take out this? So many options. He could sort of, he's one of these cards that can kind of hide a little bit.
Sentinel. Yeah, it's like Esper Sentinel. Yeah. Just sits there quietly accruing value, and you go, actually, that was the problem.
Yeah.
Also, as Josh and I were talking about one of his decks the other day, and the ability to play cards that just become like, is this more of a threat than the commander? If you remove it, they can't play it again. Like this. Because people playing removal, if someone goes, I'm going to Swords to Plowshares as your commander, you know that they're going, if I don't do this now, I'm going to lose the game. Because you can probably recast them in the next turn or two. It doesn't matter. Because if they Swords to Plowshares, the big thing that you can't recast, that's the problem. We could talk about removal for hours. The ability to put things on the board that look harmless and they go, I should have removed that. That was the problem. Is always a good feeling, definitely.
Yes, definitely. So my next card, I'm moving into Planeswalker territory.
Oh, that's what I'm doing next as well. Cool.
Ah, good. And the one that I'm going to talk about is Elsbeth. Not that one, and not that one. It's this one. Is it? Because there's two really expensive ones. It's this one.
This one's not cheap.
It's not cheap, but it's not 50 quid or whatever the one from Aether Drift was. Dragonstorm, that's the one. Yeah, not the one that from... Yes, not that.
Yeah, but that one's nuts.
Yeah.
That one's nuts.
This is Elsbeth Resplendent. She is a 2 white and 3 Planeswalker.
3 white and 2. Yeah. Sorry, 2 white and 3, you're right.
Yeah. You confused me there.
Yeah, I misread it.
She's got 5 loyalty. Her +1 is choose up to 1 target creature. Put a 1/1 counter and a counter from among flying, first strike, lifelink, or vigilance on it. That's pretty much the thing that you want to do with it. But I'll go over the other things anyway. The -3, look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may put a permanent card with mana value 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield with a shield counter on it. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Again, that's probably another one you want to do. And then her -7 is create 5 3/3 white angel creature tokens with flying. Never going to do that. Never, ever, ever. Not even if you get to 8 loyalty do you want to do that. Looking at this card, I want that +1 ability. I want to be able to put a 1/1 counter onto a creature and then give it flying first strike, and then give it a counter, specifically a flying first strike, lifelink, or vigilance counter on it. Because when you then attack with Miles, you'll double that flying first strike, lifelink, or vigilance counter on it. And then if you've got other cards on your board that allow you to move counters around, you could move one of those counters to another creature. It's slightly slow, but it allows you to get things around.
I spent so long looking at cards that move counters, because there aren't many that do. It's not a common ability. And they're all such balls. They take forever, or they cost an absolute mana-style fortune because it's such a rare effect. And giving something flying is always awesome. Giving something flying is always good. The ability to basically say, oh, this 10/10 that you can block, now you can't, is always great. Flying is low-key one of the best keywords in the entire game.
Yeah.
Like, I had an entire deck where the theme was everything's got flying. And guess what? It won all the fucking time. Because unless your opponent is playing a deck that has a couple of flyers to block, every combat, they can't block anything that you're doing. I took it apart. It was too easy. It was literally too easy. It was the game on easy mode. And so the ability to put a flying counter on something is good. And then if you have the ability to move it around, good luck to you.
Yeah. The other thing with this as well, though, is it's not just that flying counter. The other counters that are on there as well do help. It allows, it gives you some flexibility. You're attacking with, Miles is pretty much the commander you're going to attack with all of the time. And there's been some gameplay videos that I've seen where Miles is up to like 78. You give him a lifelink counter?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they block.
Well, that's a good point, because Miles he has first strike, which means that chances are he won't die in combat, which is great.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have evasion. He doesn't have trample. He doesn't have flying. He doesn't have any kind of unblockability. Nothing like that.
The only evasion that he does have is more... it's not so much evasion for him. It's more a way for him to get around things that say protection from a colour.
Yes, I was going to get onto this. I'm going to focus on Planeswalkers first and then get back to it, because I've got a couple of things about him being able to turn himself colourless, because that's a cool ability.
Yeah.
Right. Sarkhan the Masterless, 3 and 2 red. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, each dragon you control deals 1 damage to that creature. So useful, like perfect. No notes, everything. Not useful at all. I'll move on. +1 until end of turn. Each planeswalker you control becomes a 4/4 red dragon creature token and gains flying. And for -3, create a 4/4 red dragon creature token with flying.
Yeah.
The end is a 5 loyalty. Now, important. Miles says, whenever you attack, double the number of each kind of counter on each spider and legendary creature you control. Planeswalkers are not legendary creatures. They're legendary planeswalkers. They're a completely different card type. So you can't double loyalty counters unless they become creatures. And Sarkhan can become a creature. There are other planeswalkers that become creatures too. Most notably Gideon, when he was still alive, tended to have abilities that meant he could turn into a creature that was basically indestructible, and you could then double all of his counters. Problem is, most of Gideon's abilities, like, oh, I've made him a creature, and now he's got tons of loyalty counters, either makes him a very big creature, or it means he can board wipe.
Yeah.
Or exile target creature. And frankly, I find that a bit dull. Like, what's your solution? If you want to do this, making Gideons, like an army of Gideons, would work, and you'd win because you'd exile everyone else's board stuff all the time. But for Sarkhan, you can make Sarkhan a 4/4, at which point he has 10. At which point he'd have 6/12 loyalty because he gets a +1 from that. And then you don't have to make him a creature anymore. He can just sit on your board because you can use the -3 to make 4/4 red dragons. They can't double the counters. They can't do anything, but they fly. And we've talked about flying being an issue. So flying blockers, the ability to make flying token blockers, amaze.
Yeah.
Now, this is where it gets cool. If Sarkhan turns into a dragon with the +1 ability, whenever a creature attacks you, each dragon you control deals 1 damage to that creature. That doesn't work, because you only use planeswalker abilities on your turn. They're not instant speed things. You have to do them as sorcery speed on your turn. So you have to make dragon tokens or have dragons in the deck to make the ability function and kick off.
Yeah.
So if you make dragon tokens with Sarkhan's ability, whenever people attack you, they're taking damage off your dragons. If you make 2, they take 2 damage every time they attack you. It's just a slow build-up of damage being ground out against you. And also, as a minor point that I've not made a huge list of yet, do you know what dragons are really good at? Making and wearing 1/1 counters. There's lots of dragons that make or wear 1/1 counters. Dragons tend to have a flying and trample, which gets shortened to flample. And flample is a surprisingly horrific combination of keywords, because most people, if they have a flyer, they can have like a 1/1 that blocks. I've made this bird token so I don't die from your flying thing. And now it becomes, cool, now your bird is dead and you take 4 damage, and next turn you're taking 5 or more. There's a lot of legendary dragons, so you can easily fill that out. I wouldn't get too bogged down, because unless you're tutoring and definitely getting Sarkhan out, like, until end of turn, each planeswalker you control becomes a 4/4 dragon. You could do an entire planeswalkers deck if you had tutors to get Sarkhan.
Yeah. And then use Miles as a way to double all of their planeswalker tokens, which would be ridiculous. One strategy that I've seen with Sarkhan is in one of the Tarkir precons, in the Zergo one, there is a dragon that you get in there that's not very good. Is it Nevri?
Nariv.
Yeah. It's a Mardu dragon that cares about exiling cards for the number of tokens you have. The most important thing about him is that he has Death Touch. So if you were to give a dragon, he can't go in this deck, but if you were to find a way to give one of your dragons Death Touch via either a token or have a dragon in there that has Death Touch, and you have Sarkhan on the board, Sarkhan's ability states each dragon you control deals 1 damage to that creature. You deal 1 damage to a creature, you kill it with Death Touch.
So I attack you, it dies.
Yeah, basically.
Rude.
I attack you with 5 creatures.
So rude.
It's not entering into combat, so it's not going to die. It just goes, spit, you're dead. Spit, you're dead. Spit, you're dead.
All right, come on. I can Scryfall. I know what I'm doing. Let's go. Let's have. Is there a Death Touch dragon
I don't know if there's a Death Touch Dragon, but there is I think it's a 1-cost green spell called Gift of the Viper, which gives a Death Touch token.
Counter. It gives a Death Touch
It's a
counter, which you can then also double up the counters and move them around if you were that way inclined. Yeah, we've done it.
I think it's Gift of the Viper. Let me just double check it's that one and not another one I'm thinking of.
There were a few. Modern Horizons 3.
Gift. Oh,
there is only. Oh my god! There is only one dragon with Death Touch in Naya colors.
Naya colors. Okay. Which one is it?
Kura, the Boundless Sky. It's a legendary creature from Kamigawa. 3 green. It has flying and Death Touch. When it dies, search your library for up to 3 land cards and create an X. Choose one. Either get some lands or create an XX green spirit. X the number of lands you control.
So that's actually a good card to have in the deck if you wanted ramp.
Not a bad card. It's just some ramp, and it's flying Death Touch, which is always flying Death Touch is also a hideous combination. But also the ability to flying Death Touch and then Sarkhan's out.
Yeah, Gift of the Viper is the card I was thinking of. It says put a +1/+1 counter on. Put a +1/+1 counter, a reach counter, and a Death Touch counter on target creature and untap it. Such a good card for 1 green mana.
Well, yeah, it's Modern Horizons 3. Modern Horizons 3 power crept everything. Okay. I feel like what we've done here is here's how you could make a totally nuts Miles deck, but also the number of different cards you'd have to make this weird combination of things work.
If you wanted to do the whole Death Touch dragon thing, it's probably better to do it with a dragon that's in the command zone. Rather than it's a nice little nugget for you to try and do in this deck if you wanted to. The options, the chances are you're probably going to run Gift of the Viper anyway, because it's a green card that gives 1/1 counters and other counters. So it is possible for you to do it with the tokens that Sarkhan can create.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's possible, but I wouldn't go out of my way to put a Death Touch Dragon into the deck.
I mean, Kura's only a couple of quid. It's not bad.
It's not bad.
Anyway, what's your next one?
My next one, we were talking earlier about, we weren't talking about it earlier, but we mentioned it earlier that, multiple combats in any deck strategy is really good. But in a deck strategy where it cares about you attacking and then doubling your counters, if you've got multiple combats and that's doubling every time you turn your guys over to attack or declare attackers, should I say. Yeah. So I've been wanting to talk about this card for a while. This is Tifa, Martial Artist.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Tifa is a white...
This card is insane.
Yes, Tifa is a white
green...
Oh,
it's not this one. Okay. Sorry, there are two Tifas.
You were thinking of the landfall one, weren't you?
The landfall Tifa, it just wins by breathing. This one is just very good.
Yeah. This one is white, green, red, and 1 for a human monk 4/4. She has melee. Whenever this creature attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each opponent attacked this combat. And then has, whenever 1 or more creatures you control with power 7 or greater deal combat damage to a player, untap all creatures you control. If it's the first combat phase of your turn, there is an additional combat phase after this phase. That is ridiculous, because the chances of you having a creature with power 7 or greater in a 1/1 counters deck is incredibly high. There's also been this debate with Tifa that's gone around as well, where if you were to attack multiple opponents, multiple players with creatures with power 7 or greater, you would get multiple combats, and that is the case. They all stack on top of each other.
Yeah, I was just looking at Gatherer. Gatherer is Magic's official, where they keep all of their errata. And yes, you determine the size of the bonus as the melee ability resolves. Counter each opponent that you attack with 1 or more creatures. It doesn't matter if the attacking creature is still attacking or even if they're still on the battlefield. It also doesn't matter if the opponent you attacked is still in the game. You can basically go, I attack all 3. There's a second combat, so everything gets now... Because she gets melee whenever she... Oh... Is it +7 pretty much immediately for the second combat?
Yeah, if you're attacking 3 if you're attacking 3 opponents, then she becomes a 7/7 on her own.
But then the second combat, she becomes a
10/10.
No, it goes higher because you're attacking them all again.
Yeah, it'd be 10/10 because there's another 3 1/1 counters.
No, it's 6 because you're attacking them again. Whenever this creature attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each opponent you attack this combat.
Yeah, which would be 3.
It's not 6.
It's 3 because it's different combat phases. They're different phases.
Oh, but I thought the whole point was that it doubled.
No, it won't. No, her melee won't double. It's each opponent you attack this combat. Each combat is a different phase that she gives.
Oh, I see.
So she gets +3 each time.
I thought that was where the debate was, that actually she gets more and more and more, and she becomes like super
No, the debate was on how you stack the combats, because people were saying, well, the first part of the effect says that you untap all creatures you control, then you get the multiple combats. So you untap the creatures for the first combat, and then they don't untap for the additional combats that you get. But
because you can't repeat it. You can't repeat the effect.
Yeah.
I understand. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
But still, that's 3.
Grotesque. Yeah.
If you've got a way to give some, even if, depending on how the ruling actually is for it and all of that sort of stuff, whatever your interpretation of it is, the key answer to that is to have something with vigilance. And then just keep attacking.
Oh my God.
And then you just keep doubling all counters on things. But you're getting 2 double triggers because it's first combat and all that. Well, you're not getting to.
If you have a creature with vigilance, I mean, okay, if Miles is out and you play Tifa and you go to combat, she can't attack, she's summoning sick. It doesn't matter. If Miles has power 7 or greater, which is a 4/3, and let's presume he does, he attacks. When he attacks, he deals combat damage to a player.
Yeah.
All of your creatures untap. If it's the first combat phase of your turn, there's an additional combat phase, so then there's another turn, but he's already tapped and doubled all the counters. He untaps and then he attacks again and doubles all the counters. So this first time, you will effectively do, if Mars has 4 counters on him, random number, because that means he's definitely at 7 power, because it's 8. He's an 8/7 at that point.
Yeah.
He attacks. He now has 8 counters on him. He untaps. He attacks again. He now has 16 counters on him. So you've won with commander damage pretty much if he's got trample.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
That's nasty. And that's not counting everything else that also doubles its counters, including all the things that double counters that do other random things like oil to destroy any artifacts in the way.
Yeah.
Wowee, that's very good.
Yeah.
There's a reason she's a £5 card, 10 quid card. Wow.
Well, she's a lot cheaper than what she used to be, but yeah. She's still quite expensive, but very good in this particular deck.
Well, as I say, power creep. Like, power creep's a thing that happens, and Tifa's just crazy good, and she should be. People like Tifa.
Yeah.
What am I going to talk about? Okay, I'm going to save those for the end. Another kind of counter. Sagas.
Oh, God.
Sagas gain lore counters. Sagas gain lore counters. Basically, when you play a saga, nothing happens. You then put a lore counter on it when it enters, and then the first chapter of the saga triggers. At which point, after your draw step, you put another counter on it, the cycle continues. Mm-hmm. However, sagas are not legendary creatures. Then Final Fantasy happened. There are very few legendary saga creatures, the reason being that most of the saga creatures are not legendary. I imagine so they can be copied, or so the set wasn't full of, like, everything wasn't legendary, because that set everything was already legendary. But the what are they called from Final Fantasy 15?
Well, the smart thing with that as well is that like Summon Valve or Summon Bahamut and all that, they're not legendary creatures in and of themselves. In Final Fantasy X, there are multiple versions of Valve in the story and all that sort of stuff. But this is Final Fantasy 16. They're called Dominance.
16. Dominance, thank you. So there are, I think there's about 5 in the set. 4 in the set.
4. Yeah, there's 5. You've got the one that you're going to talk. You've got Clive. You've got Jill. You've got Dion. You've got Odin isn't one. Sorry, there's 4, and then there's Joshua, which is who you're talking about now.
I am. So these legendary creatures, on the front side, the legendary creature, and they transform into a saga that's a legendary enchantment creature, which means that Mars's effect still works.
Yes.
And what that turns into is nasty. So, Joshua, Phoenix's dominant, 1 red, white. He's a human noble wizard. When Joshua enters, discard up to 2 cards, then draw that many cards. That's just a nice effect to have on a card. Why not? And he's a 3/4 body that sticks around. Great. For 3 red and white, exile Joshua, then return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. Activate only as a sorcery. Now he exiles, so he doesn't keep counters. Very important. You don't put 1/1 counters on him, it's a waste of time. They'll go away. When he's transformed, he becomes Phoenix, Warden of Fire. His first chapter deals 2 damage to each opponent. His second chapter deals 2 damage to every opponent. His third chapter, return any number of target creature cards of total mana value 6 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Exile Phoenix, then return to the battlefield front face up. In other words, what happens is you play Joshua, he sits on the board doing nothing, you don't put any counters on him. Everyone's like, why is he there? Because he blocks occasionally, whatever. You pay 3 red white pre-combat. You flip Joshua, he does 2 damage to every opponent. At which point you go to combat. Because he got exiled, he can't attack this turn, which is a shame. However, he gets a second token immediately because Mars doubles all tokens, which means that he does another 2 damage to everyone on the board. So he's done 4 damage to every person playing. Not an amazing ability, but he's right there.
But he has lifelink on this side as well.
Yeah, but you can't attack with them.
No, but any damage you do, you get. So that 2 damage you do, you'll get.
So you're healing 4.
Well.
That's very clever.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. So you heal you heal 4 and do 4 to everybody. Great. At which point he's a flying lifelinking 4/4 blocker sitting on your board with 2 saga counters. Great. It goes around the turn cycle. It comes back to you. At the start of your turn, after you've drawn your card, you put the 3rd counter on him. And you can recur any number of target creature cards with total mana value 6 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. That is a lot of creatures. Most creatures, we don't talk about them very often, but frankly, most of my decks have a lot of 1, 2, and 3 mana cards in them because you can cast them early. It's called a curve. That if you have cheap cards you can cast early, then really expensive cards you have fewer in the deck. So if you draw them on turn 2, you're not stuck. That's how a curve works. But yes, it means you are recurring probably 2 to 3 value pieces out of your graveyard. At which point he flips back. If you then pay 3 red white again, the whole thing starts all over again. Every turn, you are damaging 4, healing 4, recurring everything from your graveyard. If you don't have enough things in your graveyard to make it worth your while, just don't do it. Don't spend the 3 red white. You can do other things with your mana. But if you've got things in your graveyard that you want back, you can recur them forever. They will never go away. People have to exile things for you to lose things. Because what's already a cool ability, which is because it's on a saga, is slow, under Miles becomes every turn.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's such a cool... I already think that these dominant cards are very cool. The problem is that they're slow.
Yeah.
I have a whole Sagas deck, and that it's really fun, but it's slow every turn. What happens now? Well, all these Sagas trigger. Anything good happening? Not really. I draw a bunch of cards, you take a bit of damage, I heal a bit, we move on with our lives, I make a token or 2. But next turn... Yeah, exactly. But this one in this deck, because of Mars's ability, is just bananas good. I don't think Clive works as well. I looked at Clive, but I don't think it has quite the same impact.
No, Clive cares more about Clive's side rather than Ifrit's side. And he cares more about devotion to red rather than so he's better in a mono red deck. Yeah, I have seen there was a video circulating around online to do with Joshua and his Flames of Rebirth ability, the 3rd saga on his thing, where they were saying you could get out if you were to just have him as the commander and just fill the entire deck with 0 cost creatures or creatures with XXX because you can cast them for 0. And then have something like Impact Tremors or something that deals damage when things enter. You can just wipe out the entire board with that. And I thought, that's really clever. Really hard to do because you need to have everything in the graveyard. So you need lots of discard effects and mill effects to do it. But you just play him as an endgame.
I need no more reasons to play Kobolds of Carekeep. So it's a 0 cost Kobold that comes like a 0/1 and it just pops up and does nothing.
Exactly.
And it has really crap old art. Crap. A style you may not appreciate.
Yeah. My next card, I'm venturing into shield counter territory now.
Ah, yes, very clever.
And into equipment territory. Going off of what Wilfred can do, this is one of the cards that he could potentially allow you to cast. I'm probably going to butcher how you say this first part of the name, but it's called Aegis of the Legion.
No, you're right.
Yeah. It's a white and red equipment, and it equips for 3, and it says equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has mentor. Mentor is whenever it attacks, put a 1/1 counter on target attacking creature with lesser power. Whenever equipped creature mentors a creature, put a shield counter on that creature.
That's
which
very
is
good.
which is very, very good. So
Shield counters are weird. It's worth discussing shield counters.
yeah. So this works with, so you would do this with the stack, basically. You have, say, Aegis of the Legion attached to Miles, and you swing with Miles, who is a 4/3. So there's always going to be a couple of creatures that are probably going to be weaker than him. So you swing with Miles and with that creature.
Mhm.
You then trigger Aegis of the Legion to use its mentor ability on the weaker creature to give it a 1/1 counter and a shield counter. You then trigger Miles's ability to double all counters. So now that creature has double the 1/1 counters it got from Mentor, and it now has 2 shield counters.
Whenever you've got 2 things on the board that say whenever it attacks or whenever it deals combat damage, you choose. The only points where you don't choose is if it affects someone else. And that's not to do with, it's to do with whether someone else would get the ability affecting them directly, because you effectively get to choose what happens to you.
Yeah.
And if it's your creatures, it's you, and then the creatures hit somebody. If there's damage doublers in red that often cause this problem where they go, I want to stack it this way, and you go, no, it's actually their choice which way it stacks because they're the one affected. But we don't have to worry about that now, thank God. That's another complicated one. This is brilliant. And also, shield counters are very, very cool.
Yeah.
A shield counter, the wording on it is very specific. If a creature with a shield counter would be dealt damage or destroyed, remove a shield counter instead. That is all damage.
Yeah.
That is death touch damage. That is trample damage. All damage. Damage will still trample over. So if it's a 2/2 with a shield counter and you block a 5/5, if it has trample, you, the player, would still take 3, but the creature wouldn't die. Would lose the shield counter.
Yeah, it's also non-combat damage as well. So if somebody tries to hit your creature from an effect or something, like a blood artist or something, tries to hit your creature, then you remove the shield counter instead.
Exactly. So that's all. It makes blocking incredibly difficult because all your creatures can effectively block forever. Because they get 2 shield counters every turn, they can block forever. It's incredibly good.
Exile effects obviously get around that. So farewell.
You can't do much about exile effects.
Yeah, you can't do much about exile effects in general, to be fair.
No, you can't. Also, swords and Path to Exile are most people play them, and they're very good. The fact that shield counters don't do anything about them is a bit it's a shame, but also, Josh, name other cards that use exile as removal.
Farewell.
Name any other card. That was the first one on my mind.
There are others, but I can't think of them. Another type of card as well. Yeah, another type of card as well that it doesn't get around are ones that minus abilities like Toxic Deluge. It wouldn't get around that because it's not dealing damage.
No, it just has that. It then has that. Well,
it's minus in their toughness down.
Exactly.
Blasphemous Act it would protect you against, but Toxic Deluge, because it says it gives -X, it's not actually dealing the damage, so that gets around shield counters as well. And
there are effects like O-ring effects where something gets exiled until it gets returned and stuff like that. There are many effects like that that exist in the game. Point is, they're not the most commonplace. Most commonplace is destroy. And every board wipe, pretty much, bar the really good ones, say destroy all creatures. Yeah. So shield counters work with that. What I have found in the past with shield counters in decks is they end up being that sort of, that didn't work the way I wanted it to. Because you're going to go, that'll destroy that. No, it won't. It'll take the shield counter. Fine. It's just an annoyance. And frankly, the fact that you can put 2 on a creature means it's an annoyance twice, so it's just a good thing. And also, let's be clear about how this works. You attack, you put the shield counter on it, Miles doubles the 1/1, doubles the shield counter. Next turn, even if you don't attack or not, it has 4 shield counters on it.
Yeah.
So many shield counters. You could have this one, piffling little 1/1 that became a 3/3, just I block all day, nothing kills me.
Basically, yeah. One honourable mention that isn't on my list is Protection Magic, which came in the Final Fantasy X precon, and it's basically put 3 shield counters onto 3 target creatures.
Yes, also fantastic. Yeah, really, really good. I was eyeing that up for another deck just today, actually.
I have 1 more card.
I have 2 more, and this is where it all starts to get a bit funky. Miles does a thing. We've spent a lot of time talking about how whenever you attack, double the number of counters. He has another line of text we've ignored for ages. for 2 colorless mana, put a 1/1 counter on Ultimate Spider-Man. He gains hexproof and becomes colorless until end of turn. Number one, it's a very flavorful, very cool effect, and I appreciate that a lot because in the comics, when he uses his stealth mode, he becomes grayscale.
Yeah.
Well, grayscale is like grayed out, and he becomes colorless. Yay! It's cute.
Yeah.
I will also say the ability to give a creature hexproof is just great because Miles is so clearly a value engine that if you go, oh, I'm going to swords your commander, this is bullshit, you can go, cool, he's now hexproof, get in the bin. And he's so hard to remove. You'd have to. I worked this out. The only way I can conceive of you using removal on Miles, either board wipes or something that gets around like a Shadow Spear. How else are you going to do it?
Something that
There's
allows
no
you to
other way.
remove hexproof and indestructible and all that sort of stuff, yeah.
Because hexproof basically says, nope, you can't target this thing anymore. He also, while doing this, puts a 1/1 counter on himself, which means if you do it pre-combat, you get to add even more counters on him because it's just so synergistic and beautiful. However, while this is all amazing and just makes the cards so much better, it's really cool, he makes himself colorless. And there are very few things in the game that care about cards being colorless, but they exist.
Yeah.
Because, most notably, Eldrazi are colorless. So Eldrazi are Cthulhu-esque monsters from beyond the stars who specifically are colorless, or they have all colors depending on which set they're from. But yes, Eldrazi tend to care about colorless and are colorless. So I have found,
or they have the ability to void, where they cast for color but aren't technically colorless,
which is what this card does.
Yeah.
Titan's Vanguard, 3 red-green. It's an Eldrazi. It's devoid. It has no color. Technically, it's kind of irrelevant. It's still commander. It doesn't matter for commander. This has to be the right colors, so it's kind of irrelevant. When you cast this spell, and whenever this creature attacks, put a 1/1 counter on each colorless creature you control. So if you do, Titan's Vanguard will put a 1/1 counter on a colorless creature. So if you make Mars colorless beforehand, he'll get a 1/1 counter. Then when he attacks, again another 1/1 counter, and then they'll double. So it keeps that cycle going, and it's a 5/5 with trample. It's just a nice little value piece to have sitting on your board. That's a fun one. That's a 4P card. I just like that. That's the kind of thing you play and someone goes, "You prick," like because it's just like he's colorless now. Like that's quite good. All is Dust. It's a 7 mana Eldrazi kindred sorcery. Each player sacks all permanents they control that are 1 or more colors. This is a game ender in Eldrazi decks for obvious reasons, because your deck tends to be colorless. I have a colorless artifacts deck where the commander's colorless. Nothing in the deck can have any color at all. This is hilarious because it just mutilates the board. There's no sacrifices all permanents they control that are 1 or more colors. That includes like
lands.
Most lands don't have color. Lands effectively don't have color. They make colored mana, but they don't have a color identity themselves unless they're shitty, terrible, like awesome super lands that do have color identity, and you can take them and throw them in the bin. All mana rocks that have a color identity, all enchantments, all creatures.
Wow.
Okay. Can you imagine how great it is? You have this huge board. You've had a great game. Everything's going well, and someone's like, "Okay, I can take out that thing and that thing." You're like, "Cool. I'll attack with Miles. I'll turn him colorless, and then wipe everything, and now you die."
Yeah.
It's just a great ender. It's a great ender. I don't love playing a lot of removal, but as like a finisher, where the game's over anyway, yeah.
But
yeah,
the game's definitely over if you do cast this. Even if it doesn't look like the game's over, it definitely is.
Yeah, that's true. It's also not the cheapest card in the world, but
yeah, that's quite an expensive card for you.
I know. Well, I've got one.
Yeah.
My colorless deck is not inexpensive because colorless lands are not cheap either. So, yeah, that's where I'd put it anyway.
My last card for today is an instant. It is called I can't speak. Contractual Safeguard. That's how I'm going with.
That's enough.
It is a white and 2 instant. Its first effect is addendum. If you cast this spell during your main phase, put a shield counter on a creature you control. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Choose a kind of counter on a creature you control. Put a counter of that kind on each other creature you control. Going back to the Sarkhan card and the ability to, Sarkhan and Gift of the Viper. Give Death Touch to something. Use this. Give Death Touch to everything.
That's brutal.
Yeah,
it's so good in a deck like this where you're putting weird counters on things, right? Because a lot of weird counters don't do anything in other places, but some of them will. And like if you happen to have 2 planeswalkers and you can put a loyalty counter on all your creatures. If you had Sarkhan out, you could do something clever with planeswalkers to give like Elspeth more counters, for example. If you had them both out, yeah. And the fact that it also gives a shield counter if cast during your main phase. Oh, I see. It's an instant. That's even more grotesque. Because if you do it on your main phase to like make sure you're all set up, put a shield counter on something so it doesn't die, and then Miles doubles it, that's fine.
Yeah.
If you do it out of turn on someone else's turn, they can be like, oh, cool, I'm going to swing at you with everything. I'll lose a thing to your flying Death Toucher. It's fine, but I'll get through it. You go, cool. Everything has Death Touch.
Every single thing has got Death Touch.
In response, everything has Death Touch. You can say bye-bye to your board. That's brutal.
I mean, you could play it in a Super Friends deck. Super Friends deck is a Planeswalker heavy deck, and if you've got Sarkhan on the board and you make everything a creature, you could give a loyalty counter, an additional loyalty counter to everything. I don't see why you would want to do that, but you could do it especially if you're that one loyalty counter away from doing an ultimate on a Planeswalker. Yeah.
Most Super Friends decks where everything's a Planeswalker, basically, you're trying to trigger all the ultimates as quickly as you can, because normally if you trigger an ultimate on one Planeswalker, you've probably won. If you trigger an ultimate on 4 Planeswalkers, you've definitely won. Because the ultimates are always insane. I wouldn't do that if I didn't have some way of tutoring Sarkhan. I don't love playing tutors, honestly. I find it sort of makes the deck always play the same, which is not really why I play the game.
The key thing with this card, though, is if you play it on your main phase, put shield counter on a creature, and then put shield counters on everything else, and then attack, and then double all the shield counters on everything. That's the main target of it, because the shield counter part is in the main bit. But like you said, you can do it out of turn to do like lifelink or Death Touch or Reach or something like that, and move them around.
Lest we consider, just imagine the scenario. Yeah. Like, even at its most basic level, we're talking about all sorts of like very specific scenarios. Imagine the thought process, because if you're attacking with Miles, you've got 1/1 counters on things. There's almost no world where you don't. So if you go, cool, I'm going to go to attacks, I'm going to attack with Miles and double, and I'm going to attack with Miles, so I'm going to do all of that. And someone goes, cool, in response, whatever, you go, in response to my own trigger, I'm going to play this so that this 1/1 counter is now everywhere. So now everything is not just getting double, it's getting double +2. So more people were expecting, and suddenly your board is just that little bit bigger, and it might be enough to get you over the top. Yeah, it's very cool. Very, very cool.
Yeah, very, very cool card. And I've got no more. Have you got any more?
No, that's me. Yeah.
Awesome. Right. Well, that's the end of this episode. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening and putting up with the rambling that we did at the beginning about Universes Beyond and how good it actually is for Magic.
I'm sure you've trimmed it down.
I've probably trimmed it down, but that's our personal opinion of it. Let us know what your opinions of it are in the comments below. Let us know what cards you have potentially put into your Miles deck, or even what decks have you put Miles into.
Oh, I was thinking about this, because we often talk about like the cards as like the commander and never talk about them as like the card.
Yeah.
Why would you put this anywhere but the command zone? Can you imagine? I'm just playing my Naya 1/1 counters Shalai and Halar deck, and I'm pinging you for damage, and now suddenly here is the world's most monstrous engine that you're going to find really hard to remove through removal because it's got hexproof on it. I can give a hexproof any minute by playing 2 mana. Not difficult to do at all. I suppose that would mean that you'd try and target that over the thing that's actually killing them, which is Shalai and Halar. I can see it. Yeah. I mean,
that's a perfect example. You could play Miles as a early engine or game ender in that commander deck,
Oh, because of course on the front side he only costs 2 mana and he puts 1/1 counters on things, so he's just part of a good 1/1. You're right, he's good in a deck as well.
Yeah, and that counts as his front facing as well. So if you have cards that allow you to bring a card back with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard, like say for example, I mean even if it was the other side, even with like Joshua, you could still bring him back from the graveyard. So you know,
actually, that's a good question. Do you know this? If it's in the graveyard, does it have the mana value of its front side?
Yes, yeah, they all have the mana value of their front side. Yeah,
thought so. Yeah.
Yes, of their front facing.
So you'd have to cast him back as the front facing and then flip him again.
Yes.
Cool. I see. Okay.
Yeah, unless you've got a way to. I think, and I could be wrong on this. This is something that's just popped into my head, so I've not done the research on this. If you've got a way to give cards in your graveyard escape or flashback or something like that, then I think you can choose which one, because there's a double face card. I think you can choose which one. I could be wrong on that.
You didn't used to be able to, but with the new ruling about double face cards, I'm not sure if that changes that. Yeah. So I don't know. You have to Google it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So we're not 100% sure. You'll have to Google it. Let us know in the comments down below. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. We will be back in a couple of weeks with our next episode. We got into a habit of letting you know what our next commander was going to be. We're not going to do that anymore because we're going to change the order of how we release certain things. So we're not going to tell you who the commander for next week is. You'll have to tune in to find out. It's a good one. We're going to go. We will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.